Okay, another cold day and they say it might snow tomorrow. I guess we'll see. It doesn't really feel like it's going to anyways. And what's going on today? How about this one, where apparently it was a story that happened last year where somebody was charged flying a drone around a wildfire area in this province, and I guess now he's going to be going to court. This one here says, Kelowna Realtor charged with flying drone in active fire zone. I don't think there was any property to show off during that time anyways. It says a Kelowna Realtor has been charged for flying a drone in an active fire zone during the McDougall Creek wildfire in 2023. No details were given when Derek Leippi appeared in Kelowna courtroom January 21st, but the incident dates back to August 27, 2023, when wildfires raged around West Kelowna. At the time, the BC Conservation Officer Service said they'd seized a drone while patrolling an Okanagan lake. Conservation officers spotted a drone interfering with a helicopter actively bucketing from the lake. The BC Conservation Service said on social media in an August 2023 post saying, quote, the drone operator was identified by conservation officers and the drone was seized. Charges are pending against one individual, which is this person, of course. It says it's not known why it took more than a year for a charge to be laid, but Leippi now faces the rarely used charge of operating equipment, machinery, a vehicle or a vessel, or act in a manner that interferes with fire control that is being carried out. That makes me really curious. What the heck was he doing in terms of flying to make that the case where he was interfering with the operation? Was he really far away, or was he like flying right up to the helicopter and all that? Because for a lot of people too, as you know, it doesn't matter. Let's just say if the drone is 3 kilometers away, a lot of people would, for whatever reason, be really over the top in terms of saying it was a danger to the aircraft, which makes me wonder, is that truly the case anyways? It says fine for the offense can reach $100,000 and can result in a jail sentence of up to 1 year. There are nearly 200 homes destroyed by McDougall Creek wildfire, and thousands of people were put on evacuation alert. And of course, they go on to say here, every wildfire season, the authorities remind the public that using drones in wildfire areas is illegal and can greatly hamper crews' ability to deal with the fire. However, it's rare for individuals to be caught and charged with the offense. According to the BC Financial Service Authority, Leippi is a licensed realtor and works for 2% Realty Interior Inc. Leippi's Facebook page does show a considerable amount of drone photography used in his real estate ads. When reached by phone, the 36-year-old refused to comment. None of the allegations have been proven in court. Now, what would you think of this overall? Let's just assume he is found guilty. Do you think it's justified to punish him for $100,000, for example, or whatever the heck he did? And at the same time, it makes me wonder, because they say here it's rare to find someone in this way for these types of incidents. So is it really that bad what he did, or is it just the fact that he used a quote drone and it's such a buzzword in so many places? And with that thought, actually, in terms of drone being a buzzword, this was kind of interesting to think about, because nowadays there's a lot of people who fearmonger the drones, even toys, for example. So imagine reading this, where it seems like Nokia was trying to convince people, hey, it's not a toy, it's a tool. I'm just thinking, isn't it the other way around, where people are constantly labeling drones that are indeed toys as some kind of, like, I don't know, weapon? But here it says drones is not a toy, it's a tool. Although drones have been around since 1935, interest in this technology has only really accelerated in the last 20 years. What started off as a military technology soon found its way into the hands of hobbyists and then into the imaginations of engineers. Yeah, and again, I don't know how true this is in general. It says one of the biggest challenges faced by the drone industry is the perception that it is a toy. Many of today's decision makers may well have received a drone as a present from an enthusiastic aunt, and perhaps nostalgic memory blurs the reality of today. Instead of viewing these devices as an incredibly useful tool to evolve the way we work, we imagine someone stood in the middle of a field whizzing from one corner to the next. There will always be enthusiasts who play with these devices, but there are also a growing number of companies who are using technology to improve the workspace. And with that, they go on to say how drone usage is increasing, obviously, with businesses and so forth. I suppose because it's Nokia, maybe they're trying to push, for example, their network abilities, I suppose, to run these types of drones. But yeah, I don't know how true that is overall in terms of people only seeing them as toys. I would say it's the other way around. People think they're all huge weapons and huge manned aircraft, correct? For stuff that are indeed toys. I mean, it's almost as weird as those FAA ads, for example, I saw before where they're telling people, got a drone like for Christmas or something like that. It is not a toy. You are a pilot. Like, are you kidding me? Some of them literally are toys. What's going on here, huh? Is there like a big push now, I suppose? And with that interesting thought, actually, in terms of people, let's just say, viewing all drones as some kind of huge manned aircraft, like who, for example, comes up with this stuff? Like in the US, is the FAA. And it was kind of interesting reading this one where you have to wonder, hey, you guys actually focus on safety or other stuff? Apparently in the US, it was an order, I guess, signed where they have to get rid of their DEI programs. It's kind of interesting where I would be wondering, is that what you were focused on all this time versus actual, let's just say, safety in the airspace, or like when it comes to drones, actually research how people use it? So as it says here, fact sheet, President Donald J. Trump ends DEI madness and restores excellence and safety within the Federal Aviation Administration. This is apparently an official post anyways from the White House in the US. It says flights should be supervised by the best employees. President Donald J. Trump has signed a presidential memorandum terminating a Biden administration Federal Aviation Administration hiring policy that prioritizes diversity, equity, and inclusion over safety and efficiency. The President Memorandum orders the Secretary of Transportation and FAA Administrator to immediately stop Biden DEI hiring programs and return to non-discriminatory merit-based hiring. It also requires the FAA Administrator to review the past performances and performance standards of all FAA employees in critical safety positions and make clear that any individual who fails to demonstrate adequate capability is replaced by someone who will ensure Americans' flight safety and efficiency. And as you know, there's been a lot of stories with planes and stuff falling out of the sky, or what seems to be just bad maintenance with parts flying out of the planes for whatever reason. And it says here, almost unbelievably, as a diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative, the Biden FAA specifically recruited and hired individuals with, quote, severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric issues, and complete paralysis over other individuals who sought to work for the FAA. So with that, I guess they'll have to change. It's kind of interesting, huh? Do you think that'll solve anything though in general, just in terms of people who come up with, let's just say, things like regulations for drones and all that? Or do you think for the most part it'll be the same thing overall? Because a lot of people would argue it's big business, for example, that have the influence to kind of steer laws to the way they are, or at the same time, for example, the narrative in terms of how you should view a drone in general. And something quick I read about, let's just say, hiring practices. This was kind of interesting, where apparently Amazon Canada is completely closing down its warehouses in Quebec, where the claim is they're doing that because people potentially wanted to unionize the company. That's what they said anyways. It says Amazon Canada says it will close all 7 of its warehouses in Quebec. Amazon Canada says it will close all 7 of its Quebec warehouses and lay off staff over the next 2 months. The e-commerce giant positioned the move, scuttling 1,700 permanent jobs and 250 temporary ones, as a way to provide, quote, even more savings to our customers over the long run, and dismissed concerns that it was linked to a recent unionization push in the province, saying, quote, this is about offering the best service we can to customers in a way that's efficient and cost effective. So what would you think overall? I wouldn't doubt if that was related in some way, but I guess you can't ever say 100%, correct? Alright, see you guys later.